Hi, it's Mike DelSignore here. I want to talk about what happens if you're charged and arrested for OUI. A case is going to be heard in the Dudley District Court. Dudley's a court I've been working in for years. Can help you through the process. Been doing this for 20 years, so I'm going to give you the benefit of all my experience, training, and prior trials. All that goes into advising you on what to do next. So, charged with a first offense, OUI. First thing people want to know is how you get back on the road. If you refused a breath test, it's going to be a 6-month suspension. The only way you can get back on the road fast is to either get a not guilty, which is going to take probably minimum of 4 months in Dudley. They move the cases a little faster, could be longer, or you'd have to admit to the charge and get a proof of a hardship license. Now, hardships aren't always given. You're going to need a letter from work. So if you can't get a letter from work, the only path to get back on the road fast is going to be that not guilty verdict. If you took a breath test, it was over 0.08, you only face a 30-day suspension. So right now, if you just were arrested, go online, schedule a hearing for day 31. You can be driving while I'm fighting the case, because there's a lot of ways to get breath test evidence excluded. In most of my cases, will want to see the discovery, see all the information, any video, and try to find a way to get the breath test excluded from evidence. I win a lot of cases with breath test evidence, so it's not unusual for someone to take a breath test and avoid a conviction. It happens all the time. There's hundreds of wins on my website, plenty of client reviews on breath test cases. So don't assume you can't win the case if there's a breathalyzer test result. Now, OUI, keep it in perspective now. First, OUI, it's a misdemeanor. You're not looking at jail time. So don't assume that you're going to jail. You might see online, maximum penalties 2.5 years house or correction. It would be a rare, highly unusual case for someone to get jail on a first OUI. So typically, even if you go to trial and are found guilty, you're going to get a probationary period with the requirement you do an alcohol education program. So how do we win these cases in court? What are the keys to winning an OUI? First, minimize claims of bad driving. Cases where there's no major driving infractions, very strong cases for trial. What do I consider minor driving? Speeding 15 to 20 miles over the limit. Mark lane violations, anything that just an officer sees without independent cooperation from the public. You know, the bigger issues, even though they're still not insurmountable, accidents going on the wrong side of the road, things like that can require a different kind of defense. So one, minimize the driving. Two, basically, when I look at a case, I try to find the best aspect of the case. It might be the field sobriety test. It might be how you responded. It might be the video. It might be booking. For example, in a case I did this week, there was an accident, but the client did very well on the field sobriety test. So I was able to argue that those tests were inconsistent with impairment. And what we had was a disconnection in their case causing reasonable doubt. We didn't have to explain everything. Still didn't explain why the person crashed, but our job isn't to say they're completely wrong. It's to establish reasonable doubt. Say, well, he could have been tired, could have been not paying attention driving. The field tests, they don't line up with your other evidence. So all that is a way to create reasonable doubt. So when the police approach the car, here are some of the things they look for when they approach the car. They're looking for how you provide the license registration. They're judging your speech, checking if your eyes are bloodshot and glassy. Those can be signs of impairment. If they're not there, we can emphasize those and suggest that they're inconsistent with the officer's training. Officers also pay attention how you get out of the car, if you lean on it or use it for balance. So when I assess a case, I'm looking for what our best argument is. Most of the time, I don't need the person to testify. Sometimes I do, and if that's the case, you can tell your story, and it's a different type of defense. But if you find yourself arrested for OUI, got caught there, have questions, reach out to me. I've been helping people for over 20 years doing this. I love my job. I love helping people get their lives back together after an OUI. A lot of experience out of Dudley District Court, and I'll be glad to help you figure out what the best decision for you is. It's not the same for everybody, how to win your case, what your defenses are, and come to an informed decision of what your best option is in your case. Call, text me anytime. My name is Mike DelSignore, 781-686-5924.